can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time and everything changed. Now we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things that we didn't know about the first time around.
That's right. And you know what? This time around, one thing we are doing that's the same is we're still going to be searching for those sci-fi messages that we find in the series. We're asking what this episode was trying to tell us. Maybe we remember what we said before, maybe not. Heads up for everybody out there. From this point forward, everything will be full of spoilers. I say that as a promise, a guarantee. We could discuss anything from the Babylon 5 franchise at any point from any episode, any series. That includes the movies, Crusade, books, anything of that nature, YouTube, con panels, anything is fair game for us to talk about at any point throughout the course of the show. So if you have not watched this incredible series yet, you should stop what you're listening to right now and go watch the series. I mean that, since normally I would say, just listen to us and then go back and watch it later. We're not saying that right now. Stop this, go watch the series, and then come back to us here. And hey, we've got this whole nice little companion thing. If you are watching it for the first time, you can hang out with us there. But make sure you do that, because spoiler warnings from here on out in effect.
And as when we record our episodes, our council chambers, which you can join through our Patreon, patreon.com/Babylon5First, they get to be a part of our recordings. And in the chat right here, we're going to be watching In the Sky Full of Spoilers moving forward. Because Brent, on this one, I'm pretty darn sure, and the Sky Full of Stars is what we're watching, but I'm pretty sure we are going to be dropping a lot of spoilers in this one, because when we watched it the first time, we had no idea where the story was going to go. We do this time. Right. Do you happen to remember like what you thought of this one the first time around?
I don't necessarily remember what I thought of this one, but I remember why it was important, because this is the one where we get Sinclair's battle of the line, hole in his mind thing. That's all I remember out of it. I know this episode was super important because it did that. Did I like it? Did I not like it? I think I just kind of was like, that's a good episode, probably is probably what I said. I also do remember this though. I remember being impressed, probably isn't the right word, grateful, glad that they took an episode and showed us this instead of just telling us this, because so far they've been telling it to us. And I was like, yeah, they stopped and they actually showed us what happened, and it set up a bunch of other things for that. But I don't remember how I felt about it. How about you, Jeff? What do you remember?
It's so funny. Same. Like my note here just says, I remember thinking this was important and I think I liked it. The big thing, like I remember when I was I'm like, The Sky Full of Stars, Battle of the Line, all that stuff. But also I think this is the one where dude has a Universe Today newspaper, and it's the first time we start hearing about like San Diego getting nuked and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we get a big drop. There's the Psychor like endorses the vice president or something like that in this one. So I don't remember as much as I thought I would coming into it.
Well, Jeff, would you like me to refresh your memory just a little bit?
Please do.
Well, because coming out of our original episode on Babylon 5 for the first time, previously on Babylon 5 for the first time.
Gotta make that drop.
Jeff, do what now?
I gotta make that drop.
Jeff, a couple things that happened for us in this one. This is the one where we sort of started our this is the one where we started the second part of our prediction game. Was this early in the run?
Time to pay the piper.
Yeah, is that one right? The time to pay the piper. This was I liked this line from, actually this was myself. I went, that Lando and Jakar? Yeah, I'm kind of starting to like those two guys. They could be something if they're on screen together.
Could be, maybe.
They could be, maybe. Could be. Turns out, literally the best part of the whole show. You put Lando and Jakar on screen together, My God, if they're alone by themselves, it's even better.
Exactly.
But even if they're in a room full of other people, they are clearly, and listen, this is no shade to Bruce Boxleitner or Claudia or Jerry Doyle or anybody else. I'm going to stop saying names because I know I'm going to forget them. There's no shade to anybody, but those two, Londo and Jakar, man, holy cow. And we're like, yeah, they're starting to be a thing.
Might be something there, maybe.
Right. You, Jeff, you lamented that we actually, this is how you felt. You lamented that we learned absolutely nothing in this episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were like, yeah, we just didn't learn anything in this episode. Even though Sinclair, and you clarified this, I thought this was insightful. Even though Sinclair learned something, we as viewers already knew what Sinclair learned. He was just catching up to what we had already known.
Okay.
So we didn't learn anything. And you said you could just listen to his last 45-second monologue, because apparently he has a monologue at the end of the episode, and that would have told you everything you needed to know.
Okay.
So
See about that.
But Jeff, here's the other thing that really comes out of this episode. This was the episode that made Jeff say, I should have pulled the drop so I could put it, but Jeff said, and I quote, "I'm kind of falling in love with this show."
Really?
That's where you said, buddy. That's what you said.
Wow.
The one thing that you and I both said, and I'm glad to have really heard us say this. Till this point in our journey, our first watch journey, we never really got connected to our captain. We never really got connected to Sinclair. We never got connected to the number one on the call sheet, you know? And this episode finally got us connected to him. It finally gave us some emotional stakes with him and was like, okay, I like this guy, you know, like, and I can kind of see that because we were really harsh with him and felt very with him the first 7 episodes.
Yeah, I'd say maybe
The first time we watched him.
18 or 19 episodes.
Well, sure. But I mean, but especially those first bunch, having gone through the journey with Sinclair that you and I have gone through, having completed the first watch, we're much more warm on Michael O'Hare and Sinclair through these first 7 episodes than we were before.
Yeah. So that, Brent, let's go do this. We're going to watch And the Sky Full of Stars for the second time. If you're just joining us right now for the very first time ever and you aren't familiar with our For the First Time journey, go ahead and click this guy right here, or if you're listening on the podcasting app, there's a link down in the show notes to listen to our For the First Time conversation that Brent was referencing earlier. Go ahead and pause this, check that out. We'll still be here waiting for you when you come back and do it. It'll be awesome. But we're going to watch it here. If you're here on YouTube with us, we're going to do the reaction video thing. You're going to get it clipped and cut up and see us watching it, talking about all the pieces that come up. If you want to see the full conversation that we have through the entire episode, we share that on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Babylon5First, the number 5, and the word first.
And if you're listening to us on an audio podcasting app, stick with us because you're actually going to hear the reaction. And then we'll get together on the other side of the episode and we'll share our thoughts. We'll talk about messages and all sorts of stuff that we have. Jeff, I want to bring this up right now because if we wait to the end of the episode to talk about this, I'm going to absolutely forget it. Okay. To go along with the Lurker's Guide, our friend Ben, who's joining us here live as part of our council chambers, says he found a quote in the Lurker's Guide about JMS in his predictions. You know, you and I both loved our predictions and making predictions, and I've already talked about some of the ones we made coming out of this. Actually, some of the ones I want to talk about later had to do with predictions and a new theory of what's really going on. He said, you really can't begin to speculate here. Like, don't even bother making predictions, which if that's something that the fandom heard, that might explain a lot of the comments we got back then.
Yep.
Right. He says, at this point, there's information you don't have. It's like trying to guess the contents of a box without knowing the size of the box. It could be a marble or it could be an elephant, to which I would say, dear JMS, Mr. Joe, that's kind of the point and the fun of making the predictions, you know? So, but I like that. Like, yeah, you can't predict anything because you don't have all the information. Yep. It's kind of like people right now trying to predict how the NFL draft is going to go.
But the thing is,
and it never goes that way.
There's a whole cottage industry around that, right? People eat it up.
Dude, there will be millions and millions and millions of mock drafts that happen, and not a single one will accurately predict how the draft will actually go.
Even be close.
Not one. Not one. Yeah.
Unlike our predictions, which were probably, I'd say 85% there all the way through.
Right. Well, Jeff, with that, let's watch this episode. What do you say?
Let's do it. This is where villain of the week comes in. Remember, every time we're like, oh, starts at customs.
If you're the first guy on the station, if we see you walking on, you're the bad guy, especially if you have the accent.
Accents always.
The eyes.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, it's Joaquin.
Game, yeah.
I remember in the first one, I was like, this guy, who is this guy? He looks familiar. Like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I was like, I know this guy. Who is he? It was driving me crazy.
Recently, there was a bunch of Star Trek podcasts that did a pod crawl. They watched all the movies, and Walter Koenig was on one, the Seventh Rule podcast with Sirach Lofton.
Yep.
And he talked about this dude and how he's just like, this guy was going to be big time. He had all the pieces.
Not my fault.
All right, Snitsky.
Uh-oh.
That's good sound design.
Then we find you again. Then we cut your head off.
I've never understood that. You owe me money, so I'm going to kill you. And never get the money. Like,
Right.
I've identified the target.
Uh-oh. That's our dude.
that's him.
When do we take him out?
Dude, these costumes, the costumes they're wearing, like that diamond
It was the
pleated
dawn of the third age of
puff jacket
mankind.
they had going on.
10 years after the Earth.
Very 90s sci-fi.
When you signed on, were you informed of the regulations about use of the casino by station personnel?
If I may ask,
Security personnel
Like,
are
on one
prohibited
hand,
from gambling while on active duty.
Why is
Off-duty
Sinclair,
gambling is
why is the
limited to 50
commander of the
credits per week.
station dealing with
I hear
this?
you've been exceeding those limits, Mr. Benson.
Also, I think they get into his
That's not
bank
true, sir.
account.
you can check the casino records.
We have. But we both know a lot of unregistered side betting goes on, don't we?
If you were to get into debt with the wrong people, you'd become a security risk. You could be compromised, blackmailed.
I like that they explain why it's an issue
you are
here,
in debt to
because
these
at this
people,
point,
Mr.
like, why do you
Benson.
guys care? Why are you intruding
We
on his
will find
personal
out.
stuff? Like, it does
I'll
matter
give you
for your
one
job.
last chance. If you have anything to tell us, I suggest you do so.
How many people actually come clean with that one last chance to tell me the truth?
Yeah, it never
I'm
happens.
taking you off active duty pending the outcome of the investigation. Dismissed.
I'm going to stand by my prior assessment that Sinclair has no business being involved in something at
He's
this level.
lying.
Yeah.
I can tell.
That'll do fine.
That'll do, pig.
I appreciate this, Ambassador. I never get to see Minbari up close unless there's something wrong. Chance to examine one of your people in prime condition gives me a baseline to operate from.
That's an interesting line, knowing that he actually, during the war, right, had a bunch of information on Minbari. But the way I kind of interpret that is he wasn't working with a fully intact Minbari during that time. So it's like,
Right.
this is a little way of being like, wow, seeing one of you all healthy, mind blowing.
Right.
Those of us in xenobiology were told to hand over our notes on your people.
That was weird. I got it. What did you do? I didn't
Genetic
do anything.
Biological warfare. I destroyed my notes rather than have them used for killing.
This is a great message right here,
Yeah.
right? Like, this is okay, to use the phrase, this is the Star Trek thing. This is what I was wanting to see as a Star Trek guy
What about
coming
you,
in,
Ambassador?
is talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What
Like,
did you do?
yes, you're doing it because Star Trek does it, but no, you're going to go this route. Like, yes.
Alpha leader, you have a Minbari on your tail.
Did they just say enemy? Is it weird to say? I don't know.
On him. Targeting fighter.
Oh my god.
It's a trap. Mitchell!
It's a trap.
Forgot about
It's a trap.
Mitchell, his buddy Mitchell. He's the big crux of the vision. Knowing what's happening, this is a great transition. Like at this point, even as a viewer, you're like, what is going on?
Well, actually, I was just sitting here going, oh, yeah, he's still in the dream. Like, wait, is he a dreamer or is this a telepathic thing?
Well, it's the machine they were putting together. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it's a mind space.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in hell. Not that it matters much, Commander Sinclair. Because wherever you are, wherever you go,
I'll be there.
you're mine.
He never came. I thought you might have seen him.
No, sorry. Have you tried the observation dome?
Yes. Lieutenant Commander Ivanova hasn't seen him since last night.
If you'll excuse me, I'll have to get back to you later.
Then you're saying all of this is a simulation?
It's the Matrix.
Not real.
What is real, Commander? This.
It's a good question, really. What is
Commander,
real?
there you are. I've been looking all over the place for you.
Garibaldi?
No! No need for alarm. As you said, a simulation only. See?
That's a good overlap, though.
Commander.
Like Garibaldi leaving
Commander.
this, CNC to look for him.
How's it going, Commander? Commander.
Jeff.
Yeah. What? Oh, sorry. That's never going to not be funny.
Dylan asked, does this count as
Garibaldi's
foreshadowing with Garibaldi getting shot? I don't think so.
Hit him in the shoulder.
Yeah, I don't think it's foreshadowing at all.
Smart money said you'd make admiral one day.
Yeah, here you are.
So what happened? Commander.
Oh, stank.
Dude, that's such a diss. Like,
Go to hell.
wow.
Why did you betray us?
Mitchell's dead. This isn't real.
We fought for you. We fought beside you on the line. We swore we would all go down together. But you're alive, and we're dead because of you.
It's not true.
Yeah, billions are alive because of me, actually.
I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
If Mitchell is a manifestation of Sinclair's own guilt, right? That right there is a really great example of the internal workings of how guilt works. Hey, I'm dead because of you, right? Like that's the internal thing. And you have to cognitively in your head have to say, no, it's not true. But you still have that voice inside your head saying this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I think that happens with so many things, certainly more than just somebody dying. Like, oh, this thing happened because of me or because I did this or I didn't do this. And you almost have to cognitively say, no, that's not right. And that is a fight that doesn't stop a lot of the times. You know what I mean? It very rarely becomes a settled issue.
Yeah.
See, we know what this is now. We didn't know what this was then.
No clue. Yeah. This is like horror movie stuff at this point for us.
It is. Yeah. This, by the way, is far more creepy and horror movie than Soul Hunter was. Sorry, Joe. Good job on this one. So one of these has to be Delenn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep, it's all of them.
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? Does that? Hey, this is a question. This is a question for all of you out there, or whether on YouTube, Patreon, Council Chambers, whatever. When you guys hear him say, "What do you want?" and that repeats again and again and again, does that trigger the "What do you want?" question that is so pivotal to this show for you? Does it, or is it just a little earlier? Like, because that triggers something to me. Like, and now I'm immediately looking for something like how does this relate to that? What do you want question? You know?
I think if it was just asking what you wanted, he would have said, they would have gone once, but the fact that they had it bounce from all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah.
And knowing that Kosh and Kosh 2.0 are just in the other room.
And Delenn points out, Sinclair asked both questions, who are you and what do you want?
Yeah.
Great questions from Sinclair though, right? Like pulling all that together. Mr. The One.
Not yet. Right now, not the one.
Oh. Because I mean, here's the thing. Anytime somebody asks the question, what do you want? That can't, like,
to do with the command.
it can't always be the Morden thing,
care.
right?
All I want is... What have you got going on in here anyway?
Hey, nothing you need to worry about.
Dude, this is so like Clockwork Orange type stuff right here, man.
Terminate.
Yeah, he gone.
You saw something, didn't you? Just before you blacked out.
That chair effect looked pretty
I
good.
almost saw it with you.
Yeah.
Gray figures. What does this mean? When did this happen? What are
Gray
you hiding?
figures.
Yeah, they'd have no idea those are Minbari. They have no reference for that.
Or Gray Council. Like,
We all hide
I mean,
things, Commander. That's why we bounced back here again, isn't it? This is where you hide, behind duty.
I mean,
and
to
responsibility
us, it's
and
obvious who
obligation.
that is.
You'd never
Now.
understand.
To the first time watcher,
Go wrong.
For years afterwards, whenever I saw him in Barre, I had to fight the urge to strangle them with my bare hands. We never had a chance. You say we could have won, but you weren't there. You didn't see them.
Then why did they surrender?
I don't know. Maybe the universe blinked. Maybe God changed his mind. All I know is that we got a second chance.
Before we get that, I just have to say, like, that line from Sinclair around every time I saw him in Bari, I had to fight the urge to strangle them. You know, always to understand where he was as a soldier, to then recovering in peacetime, to now living amongst Minbari and working with them. What an incredible journey. Like, what an example for people. And for him to be able to acknowledge that, you know, I think a lot of people get to that point where they're like, yeah, I don't have that kind of hatred anymore, but they cover up or don't think about or acknowledge that time when they're like, yeah, I wanted to kill them with my bare hands. He acknowledges that. He names it, you know, and then still, I don't know, it's pretty profound.
Jeff, I'm looking at this person on screen right in front of us here as we're paused. We should take the watermark down so YouTube can see it really well. Is this Delenn from The Gathering?
Not Delenn. This is the assassin.
Assassin from The Gathering?
Changeling net person?
That's who it is? From The Gathering,
Yeah.
right? It kind of looks like Delenn from The Gathering.
Well, if you remember The Gathering, that was part of the thing. They wanted the Minbari to all kind of be
Sort
of
of be the
one,
same.
one stripe sort of thing.
That's true. Yeah, I remember that.
Could you imagine being him and just watching the slaughter around you?
Right?
These are the people who answered the president's call, right? Who were like, yeah.
Have stabilizers. If I'm going out, I'm taking you bastards with me.
Take them.
I kind of love this. I'm kind of getting chills.
Full velocity ram. Afterburners on my mark.
Oh, I remember us talking about this triangle thing, right? Like,
yeah, this triangle thing became very important. So that's Delenn, right? Don't we know that that's Delenn?
I think so. Yeah, because she's like, oh dear God.
Okay, so let's hold on. We got to talk about this. Just make sure we're on the same page. So they held up this thing to him, and basically what they did was, in doing that, they discovered that he was a child of Valen.
Yes.
Because that is how they determine who is a child of Valen, because it does some sort of, I guess, DNA marker test. What we didn't know at the time or understand or even posit was he is Valen.
Yeah.
I don't think we even had the word Valen yet.
Not yet.
So that's what just happened. So they saw that thing light. Why would they put that on him? Why would they even begin to scan him in the first place?
I wonder if it's a thing they did. Like, it might have been a normal procedure, or I wonder if Kosh like pushed her in that direction. We didn't see that in the beginning, but I could see that have been a thing.
But it's something we don't have answered. We can only speculate.
Yeah. Well,
why would they have scanned him with that in the first place? That doesn't make sense. Unless, as you're right, and they're saying it in the chat, unless it was Kosh.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of.
I guess. Yeah, and Kosh would have known because
he was there.
Because he does that kind of stuff.
But yeah, we figured, I remember, like, oh, they just scanned him. Like, okay, they scanned him, whatever. He's going all infection. It's pretty good wherewithal. Like, can't even get his feet on the ground and still knocks dude out.
Minbari broken through. We have to report.
Get it done.
Ooh, I like Katerina's theory. Sinclair in the past, Valen, knew this was going to happen, so maybe he implemented some sort of a procedure to say, oh, you got to scan people when you capture them.
I would love to think that that's true. I just need something confirming, saying that yes, that's it. You know.
Looks like he's been treated with psychotropic drugs. He may be delusional, confused. In his present state, he may even be considered dangerous.
Yeah, thanks. I kind of got that impression. Keep me informed. Garibaldi out. Ambassador, stay back.
Yeah, you don't want to be here right now.
Ambassador Delenn, your friend.
We know each other from way back on the cruiser. I mean, the council chambers.
I know.
See, she had the triangle tattooed on her head or whatever that was. This is good TV, Jeff. I mean, season 1,
right?
90s sci-fi. This is so good.
I can't believe people skip season 1.
How long have I been out?
This is an episode that should be in an essentials list for season 1.
Yeah.
System has been through quite a shock.
You know.
Where's the prisoner? Who are you working for?
I can't help you. I don't remember anything. There's something in my head.
A hole?
It says maybe you're still inside.
We put a lot of stock in that little exchange. Never popped up again.
Turned out to be nothing. There's a lot of things we put a lot of stock in that turned out to be nothing, you know? Which I think was a lot of the fun of the people watching, is be like, yeah, no, that's not. You're way off.
Out of curiosity, do you remember anything from your experience?
Just you know.
Liar.
Checking.
He's lying through his teeth here.
No.
Oh, this is dude living in her closet. That's right.
Yeah.
He must never know.
With the weird eyeballs.
If he should find out, he must be killed.
I just remember forever, like she just had some dude living in her closet. Like, What is this?
Right? But seriously, where did he come from? And where did her little triangle thing go?
Yeah, and why does he have one? And what are the eyes and all this stuff that
doesn't her triangle thing like glow at some point or something? Like it just comes through?
I don't remember that.
I think it
I feel like there was something with someone with that, but I don't remember if it was.
Yeah. You know, Katerina over in our chat, part of our council chamber, says that could have been Naroon.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I don't think JMS would have known who Naroon was at this point. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
What is it they don't want me to remember? I have to find out. I have to.
Yeah, you do. I have to find out. I mean, this is what our mission is. This is what we got to do. Like, that's telegraphing to the audience, this is what I'm going to do. And if you don't do that, you should never touch a typewriter ever again in your life as a writer.
It's interesting because like what we know is we got to a big story point of what happened in Chrysalis.
Yeah.
And then no more Sinclair. And we bemoaned that in Point of No Return. Was that point? What's the season 2 opener? The season 2 opener. That Linear just gives us 2 minutes of exposition of, oh, this is what happened. Like, here's the whole thing. But it makes sense because he probably was going to stretch this out a little further and make this the quest. But actually, in points of departure, thank you, Fabio. I like that. In that, though, it almost becomes like this is the story of season 1, right? Season 1 introduces the idea of the shadows and let's talk about this whole Minbari human Valen thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we launch from there.
You know, I feel like that's almost kind of what, because remember, it was like each season's supposed to be contained of itself. It's like its own little
thing,
and they all had like titles and stuff. So, okay, let's do this exercise real quick. Season 1 is functionally is world building, but the story of season 1 is what is the hole in Sinclair's mind. Right? Like that's the story.
Mostly,
of season 1. That's what we're really trying to find out. Season 2, the story is the start of the war.
The coming of shadows.
Okay. Season 3 is certainly not the end of the war. It's just the war.
Well, season 3 is the war, and it's the decline of Earth.
Right.
You get all the Night Watch stuff.
B5 declares its independence. How B5 gets its own way, right? And then season 4, whatever the original thing was, that's the end of the war.
The wars, right? Because we wrap it up with the shadows and the Earth Civil War.
And the Civil War. And the Minbari Civil War.
In 2
Had that one
episodes.
for 2 episodes. And then season 5, there's Byron and then Aftermath.
Yeah. It wraps stuff up.
Aftermath. Yeah. Interesting.
It is. So, Brent, we just finished watching this for the second time. Anything stand out for you that we didn't talk about during the episode itself?
Most everything that I don't know, Jeff, you and I have gotten pretty good about talking about it during the episode, and now that we're not cutting those pieces out, it feels dumb to rehash it all here.
Agreed.
I think if I could just kind of, I guess, sum it up, man, this was good TV.
This is a great episode.
It's a good episode. I have a much higher value of this episode than I think I did. Jeff, is it fair for me to say at this point, I might actually like this better than I did War Prayer?
Really?
Last time I said I liked War Prayer better. I might, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tough. 2 great
It's
episodes.
good. Actually, I was gonna say, I can just appreciate 2 great episodes. I don't necessarily have to have one over the other, Yeah, this one hit all the buttons, man. This is a surprising episode for a season 1 episode, like the quality of what they're doing. This episode feels so important.
It does.
To the overall show, and in our chat a while back, somebody was saying, hey, listen, if you get 3 episodes out of season 1, it's this, it's Signs Importance, and it's Chrysalis. And I was like, you got to throw Babylon Squared in there too. Like that one's pretty important too. But yeah, I can see where this is certainly certainly one of those you have to have. How about you, Jeff? What'd you come up with out of this one?
Not a lot new out of it. I think the 2 things that I did want to bring up here specific. One, I think I agree. This was an awesome episode. And what's interesting about being such an awesome episode is you said that when we watched this the first time, one of my comments was, all you need to watch is the 45 seconds at the end and it tells you everything that happened.
You're going to retract that statement
No,
right
I
now.
100% stand by it.
Oh, no.
But this is what's interesting, though. I say that from like a story standpoint, right? Like if I just say what happened and In the Sky Full of Stars, well, here's Sinclair telling you what happened. But we talked about at the very beginning of the episode how modern TV, contemporary TV, you know, what do they call it? Prestige television has trained us to always look for the twist, always look for the surprise, always expect some character to die. Everything is a galactic existential threat. It's not what TV used to be. We talked about there being no stakes because this is the middle of the season. They're not going to kill the leading man in episode 8. Like, that's just not going to happen. It's the journey, right? It's the how everything unfolds that matters. So yeah, all you need is the last 45 seconds. But if you don't get the other 41 minutes and 15 seconds, oh my God, you're missing out on brilliance.
Yeah.
Just the way it's laid out and paid. Oh, it's just really good.
So good. It's interesting you talk about how this prestige TV has trained us to look for the twist.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, when we watched this the first time, we asked a question, a very simple question. Jeff, is Delenn actually a villain?
We asked that.
We talked about it here. Is Delenn actually the villain? Because the Great Council is bad. We've most decided, right? Great Council is just bad. Delenn's part of the Great Council, so she, ergo, is also bad. But we said this is the story of her experiences here are changing her. But she's starting from this bad spot. Jeff, let's revisit it. Is Delenn bad? Now, we know everything about Delenn at this point.
We do.
So is Delenn bad?
But before I answer that, I want to say that what adds to that is like at the end when she's like, what do you remember? Like that really gives that vibe of villain. Like, hey, so I totally roofied you at the bar. And I'd want to make sure, like, what do you remember after we were at the bar? Like, are we still cool or do I got to worry? Like, it really gave those vibes. But
because you remember when I took you back in the room and, you know, do you remember that or are we okay now?
Yeah. So it had those vibes strong for me. So is Delenn the villain? Brent, I need to preamble my response by saying I already have a massive part of the community that hates me because of my thoughts on Delenn.
Yes, you do.
I will answer your question with a question.
Okay.
Does flagrant ignorance make you a villain?
No.
Because I think that so much of what Delenn, we talked about it during the episode, Delenn started the war, Delenn ended the war, right? And so I think that Delenn, through what I'm going to call flagrant naivete or flagrant ignorance, has done some awful stuff. Really, really not great stuff. And on the surface right here, what we've seen, what she did to Sinclair, 100% a victim. 100%. All we know is she captured him, interrogated him, and tortured him. That's what we know. But then she makes it right. You know, so I think a lot of her story is, whoops, mishandled that, and I'm going to make it right.
Did they torture him, though?
I don't know. I
mean, they had him up on the triangle thing, but we didn't see. They weren't beating him. They weren't mistreating him. They just held the little triangle thing up until it glowed, and they were like, okay, we better flashy thing him and send him back.
I think in the beginning there was some pretty harrowing scenes. They had him like strapped to stuff, but I don't know that we ever saw like torture of him. But
I mean, I think we certainly were supposed to be given the impression from what we saw that it was torture, but when we actually peel back the curtain, it really wasn't torture.
Right.
You know, I mean, what Sheridan got in, what is that? Not Inquisition. What Delenn got in Inquisition was torture. What Sheridan got in, what's Intersections in Real Time? That was torture.
Yes.
This, I mean, you know, stringing them up like that's pretty bad, but that also could be a cultural thing, like approaching people with your ports open.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
Like,
I think the Geneva Convention would say he was tortured.
Well, apparently, according to Nia, JMS himself has said that he was tortured as well. So,
what would he know, though?
If that's the case, then we'll go with that guy. I guess. I guess he knows what he's talking about.
But I guess I would say Delenn is not a villain, but she is dangerous.
Oh, Delenn's dangerous. If I can reference nothing else by, you are before me, he is behind me. If you value your life, be somewhere else. Like, Delenn is dangerous. She might turn into like the side chick for the last like 2 seasons, but she's still dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
The other thing I wanted to do in this kind of discussion around this is in the Lurker's Guide, right? JMS said that this was unlike anything ever produced for television before. Directorially, the visual effects, CGI, all of that stuff says it yanked sci-fi to a whole new level of complexity.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, because I mean, okay, let's go to the other one. When would you ever see this on Star Trek?
No, never. I mean, we did, right? In Deep Space Nine. We talked about that last time. We had the episode, but it was so different and frankly, conventional.
But it also happened after this.
Well, after this, yeah.
Right? I mean, because like we could look and we could say, okay, Battlestar Galactica had stuff like this. Certainly a lot of newer stuff had, but all that's post and the Sky Full of Stars. You know, and Star Trek didn't go that route yet.
Yeah.
They didn't have the balls to do that yet.
Even Chain of Command
Right?
would have been after this. Like anything that goes to this level.
Yeah. So, you know, is Delenn the villain?
Yeah. What's interesting over in our Council Chambers chat, Delenn, speaking of Delenn, says that Delenn is a victim of her upbringing. She was raised to be steeped in religion and prophecy. We see over the 5 years how she breaks free from the indoctrination. I think that's a really good comparison. And I want to hold it up against what we talked about here 2 weeks ago in Bester, who is also a product of his upbringing. I think in a lot of ways, Delenn and Bester share some parallel paths. The difference between the two, this isn't me defending Bester, spoiler alert, is Bester, despite anything to the evidence to the contrary, sticks to his upbringing and double, triple, quadruples down on what he was brought up. Delenn says, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should look at this a different way.
Can I rephrase what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay. They both had the same journey and choices presented before them. The difference between the two was the choices they made.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't that, Jeff, the message of everything? Is, listen, it's not whether you're good or evil, it's the choices you make. You know?
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Like, what determines whether you're good or evil is the choices you make.
And Delenn says, if you read the Psychor trilogy, which I'm in the middle of right now, you can't help but feel sorry for Bester. And wow, could not be more correct.
Yeah. Oh, I like getting a spoiler from the novels in here.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
I warned people. I warned you. If you weren't ready for it, I warned you. It could come from anywhere. Jeff, I had a theory on this one.
Okay.
I had a theory back then. Pause it. You remember we're doing the red yarn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So here's one of our red yarn ones. I said this. I said the Minbari were at war with Earth for whatever reason, not because they wanted to, but because they felt they had to exterminate humanity to keep the galaxy safe. That's why we were at war.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, but when they probed Sinclair's mind, what they saw, here's my theory about what they saw, was that humanity was worth saving and that they didn't need to be exterminated. They're ultimately the good guy, right? And so they pulled back, and then Delenn was sent to Babylon 5 to keep an eye on Sinclair, which I think is actually, that is true. Yeah. Also because they're trying to help humanity take the next step to become what they have the potential to become, a la the 5th race of Stargate.
Right?
Right?
Minbari are the Asgard, basically, but they had to almost genocide us to figure it out.
Well, there you go. You know, because otherwise we were, ants and peons that could really screw stuff up. Oh, no, actually, they have the potential to really be good. Honestly, I kind of feel like this is more close than it is not.
Yeah, I think there are a ton of specifics and sci-fi-y things that come out of it, but at a high enough level, it's exactly what it is. Humanity. In this season, the series goes on to show us humanity is we form communities. We're the race that brings people together, that saves us all.
Yeah. I think about it. The Minbari were at war with Earth for whatever reason, because they were really mad at us because we killed their dude, right? But they felt that humanity needed to be exterminated to keep the galaxy safe. Okay, fine, whatever. But when they probed Sinclair's mind, he showed that humanity is worth saving. Why? Because humans have the soul of Valen in them. Humanity's worth saving, and they don't need to be. So they pull back, and Delenn is sent to B5 to keep an eye on Sinclair. Because what we learn later, we don't know this yet. It was the Minbari that installed Sinclair. They had the final say and installed Sinclair into command of Babylon 5 when it should have gone to
Benzane.
Perhaps Benzane, right?
Yeah, I think you're pretty darn close.
I'm going to say that is a solid theory that we had there.
I think so.
And I'm going to check that one off as true.
And I think it makes me think, I think my understanding up to this point was Kosh and Kosh 2.0 really wanted, this is how you end the war is, the opportunity will present itself and they'll show up being like, you're going to meet Valen, right? You're going to be like, oh my gosh, all this. But I also wonder if they were like, no, you got to save humanity because they're the ones who's going to bring you all together, and you all together is the only way we beat the shadows.
But they don't want to be together at this point.
I think I'm saying the Vorlons wanted that to happen. Like they want to, we got to get humanity plugged in and make you not kill them all because this is coming and we need them.
You guys all got to, yeah, I like it. I like it. Jeff, there's one more note from our first episode that I just wanted to bring up. I didn't have a really good spot to bring it, but I'm going to bring it up now. This actually was from an email earlier. This has nothing to do with the episode.
Okay,
this was an email that we got earlier. Okay, I want to palate cleanse this just for a second. The email said that I guess we really, really liked Londo's password from Born to the Purple.
Yeah.
And it said, just wait until you hear Garibaldi's.
Yeah. Londo's was better.
Well, we actually took turns guessing what it would be. You said it would be hard.
Okay.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I gave that's what she said out of that one. But and then I said it was either Duck Dodgers or it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Now it'd have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because password complexity and all that.
Right.
So.
Jeff, I just want to put a bow back to this episode on the just the messages piece of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Lives matter. Humanity matters.
Yeah.
Right. And I say this in real world context of humanity matters because frankly, humanity is the only fully sentient species that we know of that exists in the galaxy right now. So, I'm not trying to be speciesist here, but
it's all we got right now.
With that, Jeff, you know what?
I got a couple message things, just 3.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Sorry. I thought you gave those. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to hit them real quick. No, I was talking about the episode, like the construction of it or whatever,
fair. No,
right?
Fair. You're right.
I think things that I pulled out of this, I don't think I got out of the last time, was Sinclair's journey, wanting to strangle and kill Minbari to then being cool with them, right? That journey. Franklin.
Is he cool with them, though? No, just stop that. Is he cool with them, though?
I think that he is.
Really? Because here at the end, he's all like, yeah, Delenn, I don't remember anything. He knows Delenn's full of shit.
I don't think that was him against the Minbari. That was him and Delenn. That was her, like, as a person. Because I think what we've seen of him is he's pretty cool with Minbari. Like, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The one that I said, it's a preachable statement, but I still think this was pretty great, right? Don't focus on the lie, focus on the why. Why is the person telling the lie?
All right.
Imagine where our discourse could be improved if we stopped focusing on this thing and, hey, why are you saying this? Let's get to the meat of it all. So those are the extra stuff I picked up.
I like them. Well, along with messages, Jeff, one thing we're doing here, we're creating, once again, the completely accurate, 100% absolutely definitive ranking of season 1, Babylon 5. Our current top 5 here for our second watch, Jeff. Number 1 is The War Prayer. Number 2, Parliament of Dreams. 3, Born to the Purple. 4, Midnight on the Firing Line. 5, Mind War. Jeff, where are we placing in the sky full of stars, knocking Mind War out of the top 5?
Didn't we earlier say we don't have to put them on top of each other? We can just appreciate them all for being great?
In general, yes, but this is the point where we do put them all on top of each other.
Shoot. I guess we do. You couldn't be more right. Mind War is going to be moving to number 6, and this one will drop out of the top 5. This is an amazing episode, and it's because this in the sky full of stars, Brent is going to land at number 2.
Yeah, you're still gonna keep War Prayer above it.
I am.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. I and I'll be honest, I wasn't tempted really to put it above War Prayer. I did have to ask myself about it in Parliament of Dreams, like for a second. I was like, because Parliament of Dreams was fun. It was just a fun episode.
Yep.
But this was top notch television. This was incredible.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, between this and War Prayer, I kind of was like, I think I might actually like this better than War Prayer. I stress the word think. And also, I've said this before with some of these rankings. Put them both in a bag, shake up the bag, and pull one out, and that's going to be your better episode. Like, it could be. They're both great episodes. So, Jeff, you know what?
What?
Man, my friend, that's going to do it for this week and the sky full of stars. We got a new episode. Well, not a new episode, rather an old episode, but new for this particular run. On deck for next week, Jeff, this is a monumental episode in the history of our show, my friend.
It is.
We are watching the 9th episode, Deathwalker. Before we get to your prediction from last time, what am I talking about? Why was this episode so important to our show?
This was the very first time you filmed a reaction to an episode.
Yeah, 9 episodes in, man. This is where we started the Brent Watches video. Eventually, Jeff jumped in because, Johnny come lately over here. But yeah, this is where we started those watch throughs. So, Jeff, what do you remember about your prediction last time from Deathwalker? Well, looking ahead at Deathwalker, what did you think it was going to be?
So at first I said, this is going to be what we thought Infection was going to be. Doctor or a scientist is going to come on board. They're going to unleash something infecting patient 0, who will then walk around and be Deathwalker, basically infecting people. But then I went on to say, oh, and here's the thing. The plague will only target aliens.
Oh.
Just thinking it would tie up to a lot of the home guard stuff. But isn't there an episode later on about a disease that only targets aliens?
That's the one that killed the Mark Cabin,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I predicted
Also,
that episode all the way back here.
Also, isn't that one of those that like every sci-fi show does at some point?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Like, here's a disease that only targets this particular group of aliens.
Yep. They certainly do. Yep. What did you think it was going to be about?
I said this was Soul Hunter Part 2.
Oh God.
You got Soul Hunter, Deathwalker, like they're kind of there. Maybe Deathwalkers are like the anti-Soul Hunters, like they are the enemy of the Soul Hunter or something like that. But basically the same type of thing. And you just went, it's too soon. It's too soon.
I can't.
I can't do it yet. I can't do it yet. That's what we said.
We're going to find out how right or wrong we were.
No, we don't.
We already know.
We'll find out what. We already know.
Man.
We both were wrong.
Like, that's the thing.
We were so wrong.
So wrong. Like, incredible how wrong we were. And I don't think
this is one of those, if I'm a listener to this show, I'm just giggling at us right now. I'm like, you're dumb butts.
I think that's why this was such a favorite part of our show for people on the first time watch. Right? Just like, what do these yahoos think is going to happen here? Like, come on.
Right.
Couldn't be more wrong. But we're going to get our second viewing here next week right here. Thanks for joining us for this. I love that we have you all along as we watch this for the second time. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, rate, review, do all of those things, please. Also, very specifically, please share this show with somebody who may love it, Babylon 5 or whatever. That would mean the world to us. And so, until next time, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it this time. I'm just getting out of here. We'll see you next time.
Hey, Jeff.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. This station is about something.
We didn't write anything, and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
And you said it, and I'm just like, I'm looking over, I'm like, la da 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 da. Jeff's wrapping up, and then I look down, I'm like, oh shoot, we got nothing. And Jeff's like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, oh, Flarg.